of a sudden I think it's going to cause a shit. We're no longer going to make loads of money on long haul. Long haul is either going to lose money or make a lot less money. We now can't afford to run all these short haul routes and lose money hand over fist on short haul. So we're going to have to restructure short haul. Willie Walsh has done it cleverly in BA and IAG, and I think that's going to be the forerunner for what is inevitable that Air France and Lufthansa will have to do. He used Iberia Express and Vueling to threaten the Iberia pilots with either you restructure, you give me more productivity, you accept lower pay, otherwise I'm going to close those routes and you're going to lose your jobs. And I think that is an inevitable development in Europe. The short haul, the low-cost carriers are going to continue to expand. We're going to continue increasingly expanding at primary airports as well as secondary airports. And so we're going to take away a lot of the short-haul business from Air France, Lufthansa, etc., or whether it's Transavia, Germanwings, doesn't matter, but the same groups. They can no longer support those short-haul losses, and I think the only way Air France or Lufthansa can really restructure their high-cost operations is to say to their pilots' unions or their cabin crew unions, if you don't give me these productivity enhancements at this restructuring, I'm going to take 40 short-haul routes to and from Charles de Gaulle, and I'm going to allow or do a deal with EasyJet, for example, to allow EasyJet or to EasyJet feed my hub in Paris. That will cause a seismic change of heart within the unions in France, or certainly within the unions in Air France, because they can no longer sit in the sidelines and just go, no, or we're going on strike, or I'll tear the shirt off your back, but we'll be protected, so I can commit criminal actions and nothing happens. And I think Lufthansa will do the same thing. It's inevitable that Germanwings and Eurowings is doomed. Air Berlin is completely doomed. I suspect what happens over the medium term, therefore, is that Air France won't close every short-haul route they have. They will continue to serve the key trunk short-haul routes, so Madrid, Paris, Milan, Paris, Rome, Frankfurt, Paris, London, Paris. They'll do all those big ones, but they may not do Paris to Marseille, or Paris to Santiago in Spain, or Paris to Bari in the south of Italy. And I think they'll simply say to an EasyJet or a Ryanair or a Norwegian or someone like that, you have a cost of production of about 50 euros a seat. We have a cost of production of about 150 euros a seat. We want to buy your seats. We want you to come in under our flight numbers and operate those 50 routes using Air France's slots at Charles de Gaulle and operate those routes. And then they'll turn around to their pilots and their cabin crew and say, unless you give me these fundamental restructures and reforms, I'm going to take out 40 aircraft out of my fleet. I'm going to make you lot redundant. You're losing your jobs. And that's going to be the way they will ultimately get that kind of reform. But it's the fact that Willie Walsh has done this with Vueling and Iberia Express already within both Iberia and within BA. He'll continue to do it in BA. I think Vueling will show up in Gatwick in the not too distant future and will be used as a way to put pressure on both BA's short-haul costs out of Gatwick and also put some pressure on EasyJet. Lufthansa will finish up doing with somebody, whether it's a Ryanair or it's a Norwegian, I don't really care. And that is, I think, one of the ways that EasyJet and Norwegian, who can't compete with Ryanair on cost or on price, will find a way of growing in the next number of years by beginning to feed those long-haul airlines.